Hello, my soul family, and welcome to the Spiritual Counseling TV network and to our weekly coffee talk as part of our spiritual guidance series for this week of June 10th through the 16th of 2024. My name is Christy Ramirez. I'm your soul coach, spiritual influencer, and a motivational speaker. And so I think that this is a beautiful new week to really set our intentions on how we want to live our life, how we can start to live our best life, irrelevant of what's around you, who's around you, and really focus on making it your best life ever, because this is the only chance at life that we get, and we have to live life like it's golden. I think that that should be our motto this week, because life is precious, life is short, and life is a gift. And so I think that by really focusing and centering and grounding ourselves in this message, we can start to change our perception about the little things that perhaps we are confronted with, or any little stressors in life, by focusing on what's important and the big picture, right? That life is golden. And so I think that this is really going to lift our vibration this week. It's going to lift our spirits, and we are really going to start to feel happy about so much that's around us. I hope that you had a beautiful weekend, just very serene. And I know I had a very peaceful weekend, and so I'm feeling very recharged, very renewed. And I think that it is important in life, and especially on the spiritual journey, to take time to yourself. Like, time to just be in solitude, in silence. And I actually challenge you to perhaps do a little silent fast for as long as you can, and see how much comes up without having to say a word. And again, this works best when you're absolutely alone, because if you're around people, then obviously you're gonna have to speak. But I actually took 5 days of no speaking a word. And then yesterday is when I finally filmed a retreat, so that really helped to really kind of ground the energies and the messages that were just really wanting to just come through, and just do some healing work. That definitely helped me to get back, and now I'm feeling like really great, because I took last week off from other content of filming. So the only content I filmed for soul coaching last week was this series. And then I was just guided to just take a step back, and it really did work, because I did feel like it was in much need. So definitely, if this is something that you can afford, or maybe when you take a holiday, maybe take a little solo getaway, which is always recommended, whether or not you have a family, whether or not you're married, is to always take a little vacation to yourself. Not even with your girlfriends or your guy friends if you're a guy, but just to yourself, so that you can really get back in touch with who's inside of you. Alright, so let's get a little deeper into our coffee talk today, and just bring in a little bit of therapy and counseling for us all on the spiritual journey, because I know that the spiritual journey can get lonely sometimes, and it always is helpful to have a guide, a mentor that you loyally follow. And I say loyally follow as a very important part of this, because on the spiritual journey, it's not really wise to seek spiritual counsel from different spirit guides or people, spiritual teachers, because everybody has not only their own belief system, but it's just like you have to choose, just like a couple. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, again, first of all, not all of it, or all of the spirit teachers per se, are, I guess, either genuine or even channeling correctly. And you want to still be like in your own bubble in a way. So again, the spiritual community is only getting bigger every year, and that's a good thing. But it's not a good thing when it takes away from the initial roots of the spirituality and the spiritual lifestyle, which is again hermitude in a way. That's how it all begins. The awakening process, the spiritual journey. Read The Alchemist. That's a great book. And that book will just, again, give you a little kind of like preview and I guess like summary of how the spiritual journey is metaphorically, because it is a journey, literally and metaphorically. And it can only begin when you're alone, because that's how you are able to receive this spiritual guidance. You know, that's in The Alchemist, the book. He was alone in this whole journey. And it's like the Fool in the tarot as well, right? It's this new born, I guess, soul that is embarking on a new journey. So as I was saying, back to having a lot of spiritual teachers, it's important to choose just a couple, because again, not all of them are just going to be in alignment, right? And so you just need to really just stick to one school of thought per se, and also so that your energies are centered, and whatever it is you're working on, growing and evolving, it's just like not all over the place. So it's why I say a couple of teachers, because you do want to kind of pick and choose what resonates with you and what doesn't, and then make up your own kind of way of belief. But then also making sure that you're at least following, you know, always teachers that are saying the truth and not just what you want to hear, because there's also a lot of that. And especially on the spiritual journey, when there's things that perhaps you are hesitant to change, or the way that you live your life, you don't want to give things up. It's always, you know, human nature to want to kind of seek approval of doing things that are wrong, just so that you don't have to change, right? And then that's where you kind of need like a second eye in a way. And I know that being on the spiritual journey, being alone on your journey, alone, like with no like physical mentor by your side, which is why, you know, personal soul coaching is so helpful, to have someone actually that you talk to and have a conversation with, and it's a back and forth exchange, because, you know, I can tell you, or anybody else who is, you know, helping you on your journey, exactly the truth for what it is, and not just what you want to hear and make it up in your own mind that that's what it is that it's supposed to be, right? And then that will get you nowhere, because on the spiritual journey we need to be honest with ourselves, and we need to just follow diligently, accordingly, the divine instructions, even if we don't want to do it. You know, there are some things that I'm always asked to do per se, that anybody else who perhaps is not as diligent as me would just kind of brush it off and just say, you know, I'm too lazy to do this right now. I'll either do it another day, which usually will never get done, or just not do it at all, because maybe you don't see the importance of doing it. And it can seem minuscule, but spiritually it is huge. And so I think that this is why it's so important to definitely seek personal spiritual guidance and counsel for your journey. So it's why I recommend, again, starting this coffee talk. If you want to book your personal soul coaching session, you want to seek divine guidance and personal counsel for your journey, please reach out to me. You can book your session at christaramirez.com/booking. And if you have any questions or inquiries about these sessions, about your journey, you can email me directly at christy@christaramirez.com. So I hope to hear from you, because I think that that's step one to these coffee talks as well, right? It's being not only comfortable with me as being your mentor here, because that's what it's basically like, a group therapy session in a way. And I would love for you to, you know, even if you want something more deeper and more personalized, so that whatever messages come in, you know, maybe I'm able to help you to personalize it to your life, because that's also the difficult part. And if you're not in spiritual alignment, thinking clearly, then it can be very difficult to even manage or just apply to your life. And then you miss out on not only the messages, but the opportunity for a better life. And each week, each day is a new opportunity for growth and for just a slight improvement in any area of your life. So if one area of your life is not improving that day for whatever reason, maybe it's like maintenance, there is room for improvement in another part of your life. So there's always room for growth in any part of your life. And I think that that's very interesting. That's what keeps us excited. That's what keeps us motivated, and it should keep us motivated, because if not that, then what else do you live for, right? And it's not just about only being there for others per se, which is a great way of living, definitely servitude to God, to the collective, if you're a parent, to your children, But there also has to be more, and that comes with self-growth and soul growth, working on your soul journey. Remember that your soul is eternal, and it's definitely much more than this physical self that you present in this world, and how you live your world, even just at home with your family. Because I do see, it's interesting because I even just come across a lot of people who I grew up with as well in school many years ago, like 10-20 years ago. I'm already 35, so there's a lot of people that I've met throughout my life, and not anybody, if anybody, has stayed in my life in the long term right now, because I'm in a different space in my life right now. I'm just very high on my spiritual journey. I'm very evolved. I've ascended a lot. I've done a lot of healing work, a lot of cleansing, not only decluttering, but letting go of past people as well. And forgiveness, that's so important on your journey. That's step one, right? If you're going to let go, you must also forgive with that. And so what I'm getting to is that, I see people who, I guess we're chosen for a different purpose per se. And so they're living the family life. They're living the cliche life that we're all kind of like supposed to want to look up to, right? When growing up, getting married, having children, having a home, and doing the basic things. Maybe even most, women are housewives now, or a lot of them still have a career on their side, which of course will always require more work. Trying to be a housewife and a career woman, it's just a lot on the plate. Because just being a career woman, let me tell you, and being that I'm a career woman, but I'm also an entrepreneur, it's like having children in a way, because it's so much work, and it's a lot. It's not just a career woman, like I just said, because being a career woman for me is my counseling services, and maybe any other side jobs that I might have, and then this business that I run. It's also a lot, right? And it's, of course, good thing that it's kind of like combined with the same thing that I do, but it's still a lot of work. So I can just imagine a housewife trying to do her career too. So that's just a lot. So what I'm getting at is that, okay, so a lot of people have been, I want to use the word sidetracked into that way of life. And there's a lot of people on that boat. There's a lot of people just living the expected life. And it's not mundane, because it could be very fun. And I see a lot of people having fun. And I'm not saying that it's not fun, right? And, I sometimes do things that, I guess I want to say normal people, because being on the spiritual journey is technically not normal, because there's just a lot of things that not only are we required to do that it's not normal, but it's just more work, and it's just again also just more, I don't want to say restrictions, but it's just, I don't know, it's just very different, because it just requires just more downtime and just more silent time, and it's just not all social. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's definitely very heavenly. And so again, going back to the people who are just living the expected life, which is not a bad thing, but it is just very busy. It's very busy, it's very noisy. There's always something to do as well. I can just imagine, because I do a lot of housework as well still, and I'm very much into health and wellness, so I put a lot of work into my wellness lifestyle. So I'm always in the kitchen, I'm always cleaning, so that's something that a lot of people also do. And if you're, maybe a housewife, or someone again who has a family, a home, and maybe doesn't have enough time for themselves, this is a message for you. Definitely try to take some time out of your busy life, at least an hour a day. I know that might seem a lot, but apart from even just like what you do like for your wellness regimen, apart from exercise, because that's not meditation. Exercising and like your fitness is not meditation. I know that a lot of people kind of use that as like a two-in-one, and just kind of way of an outlet. It is an outlet for sure, because I use it as an outlet, but it's not 100% meditation. So it definitely, was life-changing when I started to practice actual sitting down meditation, apart from my fitness lifestyle, apart from even yoga. And I started to practice an hour a day. That's where everything changed. That's where this business became born. It was after like about 1.5 years of solid daily meditation. So that's step one. I think that would be the first step to take. But then again, now it's not only any meditation, because now going back to what I was saying about the spiritual community and and so many different angles to the spiritual community and different ways of meditating. Not every meditation is correct, and there's a lot of meditations that are like very hyperly focused on affirmations and even psychology. And being that I'm a psychologist, I can speak from this as expertise and experience, and being that now I'm also a spiritual expert, there's a fine line with psychology, because psychology at the end of the day is targeting the mental space, the mental body, the emotional body, but it's not really targeting the spiritual body. In fact, even in like counseling, when we are giving counseling and when I have counseling jobs, you're always advised to stay away from talking even about spirituality, talking about a higher power, talking even about faith. And that was a red flag for me early on in my years, even before I was spiritual, like to the extent that I'm now. And the reason behind that is because if you do a lot of research into psychologists and how it all started, this whole branch of science, which I've done a lot of the studying obviously for my career, you see that a lot of these psychologists are just very intellectual to the very core, like so intellectual, so mental, that they don't believe in miracles. They don't believe in anything of the spiritual realm, because they're so intellectual, which I get it, because psychology in a sense is a branch of science, and this spiritual journey is not science. So that's kind of like where I branched off and why I'm doing my own thing, because I have just different beliefs when it comes to spiritual counseling. I really do think, and it even helped to heal my own life, because growing up, I had a lot of traumas growing up, and more traumas that I had to heal from throughout my 20s. So what really healed me was after, in my 30s, the spiritual component to the whole counseling business. It was the spiritual healing that I did that helped me to heal. It wasn't all the amount of psychology or counseling, which again, any counselor practicing psychology will probably just, practice that and, have the books as a resource, or just, try to tackle the mental space, which again, it can be a good thing in a way, because again, you do want to make it practical and you want to make it solvable. But I do think that it also goes beyond that. It's not just focusing on that, because that will keep you trapped in the mental space, in the intellectual trap, and it will just keep you stuck from evolving and really going deep within, tapping into your untapped potentials, and then your highest version of self. So I think that this is just a beautiful thing to think about this week, because that was really coming up to me. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I came across some podcasts that were speaking on, magnetizing and manifesting love into your life, and just, any goals that you have. And this also goes to manifestation. I do know that in our oracle reading, when we do our oracle reading here, we have a manifestation card, right? It's the manifesto affirmations card. And never did our angels ever tell us to repeat those affirmations for 100+ times a day. Because first of all, angels don't want you to do that, and God does not want you to do that, because that will just create a ruminating habit in your mind, and that's not good, because that's the core root of anxiety, being that it's negative ruminating, right? When you have negative thoughts on repeat, or you're overly thinking about something that just happened, that's taking away from you not only being present in the moment, but it's also taking away from you being able to clear your mind and allow for the genius of the divine. Allow you to be in a true meditative space, which is through pure silence. No chit chatter in the mind. That's rule number one with meditation. That's something that I had to really break the chains of in my early year of meditation. I had a really bad habit of anxiety, and I would always have thoughts in my head. I could not clear up my mind. And it was through intense yoga combined with meditation that really helped me to dissolve that habit. And now I can meditate like a guru. I can meditate in pure silence without falling asleep as well, because it's not about going to sleep, but it's about being lucid, but just being clear. And so I think that that's something that is such a powerful skill to really develop, and it's going to be your secret weapon to this spiritual journey, because You know, sometimes even the spiritual journey, like even just talking about the spiritual journey can get a lot. You know, I need to take a lot of downtime after just filming videos and just teaching as well, because my mind just wants to be cleared. And that's kind of like a reset to the mind. That is a reset as well to like your spiritual gifts and just to like the messages. So I think that this is definitely something that we should think about this week. So pick your spiritual teachers wisely. I do invite you to join my School of Light, where I do teach A Course in Miracles. I'm reading Dante's Divine Comedy as well. We have spiritual books here lined up in my little bookshelf. These are the books that we read in my spiritual book club year round as I feel called. So the first book that we're starting with is Dante's Divine Comedy. We're going to reread it this year. I read it last year, as well as A Course in Miracles, but I'm being guided to just reset and just restart and refilm. So I'm excited for that new series to come up again. And we also have a Bible study class. I have a Bible devotional podcast show, which is free actually on my podcast page. So definitely check it out at spiritualcounseling.tv. And I'm going to just be teaching other courses as well throughout the years, because I'm saying years because these are the first priorities and it's already a lot. And there is courses that I've taught before already in like early 2020s and 2021 that want to be retaught, but not yet, probably like next year. And that includes my angel study class. That was just a powerful year course, which probably be for next year. I have all the material here. And we had a sacred prayer circle with Mother Mary, which I would love to redo as well, because those were the best videos that I did every Sunday. And it was like a little church moment, but it was just so healing, especially for the divine feminines out there. And then again, the Bible study class has been one of the most difficult courses that has not only been restarted twice already, but it's been unfinished because, of course, obviously it's a huge amount of information. It's a huge book, and it probably will not get finished, to be honest, because I'm always just being guided to just read it for myself, like in private. So that's a recommendation for you if you also want to kind of go more into like ancient history, ancient wisdom about the spiritual journey, even the religious aspects. I'm not saying that it's about religion, but it's important to kind of educate yourself, because there is a lot of good things and morals and lessons that we do learn from the Bible, which is what we take every time that I teach. So if that course wants to be retaught, then it will. But what also wants to get taught is probably a tarot class that I have been in the works of as well. And it's been a while since I even did like an actual tarot reading, but it can be very sacred. It's again how you use it, with the intention behind it, using it for soul growth and for evolving on your soul journey. It's all about the soul journey. The tarot has a lot of history to it. And I did do a little video last year as well when I taught that first course half, first half of the course, when I was just doing the major arcana. And again, the whole journey of the tarot, especially the major arcana, is the spiritual journey. And I think that it's so beautiful. So I do want to reteach that course as well. And it probably will in this room as well, because I think that was so fun. And then maybe do like little live readings once a week after that class is taught. And then our Bible study class, for now, I just want us, you know, if you really want to kind of join me along, let us just start reading the book from the beginning, starting with the book of Genesis, because I do think that that is just one of my favorite books, first of all, in addition to the book of Revelations. And I'm sure I like the book of Matthew a lot. So those are like my 3 favorite books from the Bible. And just like different quotes, of course, like from book of Isaiah, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, one of my favorite quotes. But from the actual like just reading front to back, those are my 3 favorites. So maybe we can start with reading that. I do sporadic Bible lectures as well, as I'm called, as I'm guided in my Lightworker University. That's where all the presentations go. That's where I do motivational speeches, special presentations, where my resurrection series have taken place. And I've added little Bible lectures that we do Sundays that are just special events. So the next special event might actually be dedicated to talking about one of those 3 books, which we've already talked about. So it might not really be the case, because Book of Revelations, if you want to learn more, is I believe it's part 4 from my resurrection series, which is already available to watch, purchase to watch, in my Lightworker University. So go to christiermers.com/lightworkeruniversity. Book of Matthews, we've only read the first Beatitudes in my first Bible lecture that I did. It's already uploaded as well. And I believe the book of Genesis is not one of the books that we've really talked about. So maybe that can be next. So anyways, I think that is enough for our coffee talk. It's just been a lot of just guidance for all. This is all the guidance for you. Definitely seek individual spiritual counsel if this is something that you need on your journey. Choose wisely your spiritual teachers. Make sure that you limit the amount of people that you listen to when it comes to podcasts, influencers, spiritual teachers, because you don't want to flood your mind with too much information. That's just number one. And make sure that the people you follow as well are living in integrity and living in truth, living what they preach. So living a life of the spiritual nature, because that's important, right? There's a lot of, the reason why also God is bringing this up is because there's a lot of people that, speak spiritual truths, but off camera or behind the closed doors, maybe they're not an influencer, but they claim to be spiritual, but maybe behind closed doors, they're doing things that are not spiritual or doing things that are rebellious or of the other nature. So you just really need to choose wisely and just make sure that the whole package is there. And I would say limit with the count of one hand, because that's how precious and just how intimate you need to be with your life and your spiritual journey. And this is a sacred relationship with God that you're nourishing. It's not about bringing in the whole spiritual community. It's about you taking care of the sacred relationship first. And also because there's so much spiritual community events to attend, which is a good thing every now and again. But I want to say that I've been to a couple as well on my spiritual journey. And it's just, it can be a little much sometimes. It can be a little much because there's so much energies. And again, not all of them are on the same boat as you. It's impossible for a whole millions of people to just be in the same philosophy of thought as you, right? And so you're going to be around energies and just different kind of people that might not just, and this is again when anytime we step out in the world, right? And this is just caution for any time you step out in the world. If you have a job, if you just spend around time a lot of people, if you go out at night, if you enjoy the nightlife as well, just keep that in mind. The spiritual nature, nature is the best place to get in touch with the spiritual nature is the best place to get in touch with your spiritual self and with God, of course, with the divine. But yeah, just bring in the spirituality into everywhere you go, into all that you do, and let that just be the way that you live today. Live life like it's golden this week, and start to practice living your best life every day so that it may become habit, and that's just the way that you live your life. Have an amazing and beautiful week, and we're going to get started on our dailies. Make sure that you do watch your daily morning spiritual guidance every morning, just 3 to 5 minutes long. Makes all the difference in raising your vibration. Have an amazing and beautiful week. Namaste.